She watched her best friend get sold at the altar and then became part of the deal. The gates closed behind Leora Vance at 11:47 p.m., and she knew, with the kind of certainty that tastes like copper, that she wasn't leaving the Volkov estate. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. Her best friend Serena had just married a man who collected people the way others collected art, and now Leora was inventory, trapped, watched, erased. What started as a wedding turned into a cage with marble walls and armed guards. This is the story of how two women survived what should have broken them. If you're watching from anywhere in the world, drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. Hit that like button and stay until the end. You won't believe where this goes. The invitation arrived 3 months before the wedding, cream-colored cardstock with gold leaf edges that caught the light, like a threat dressed as a promise. Leora held it between her fingers in her cramped San Francisco studio apartment, reading Serena's handwriting, rushed, slanted, in the margin. Please come. I need you there. Not I want you there. I need you. Leora hadn't heard from Serena in 8 months. No calls, no texts. Just silence where there used to be daily voice memos and shared playlists and stupid memes at 2 a.m. Then this invitation with that desperate scrawl, and Leora's stomach went tight. She called. Voicemail. Called again. Voicemail. Sent texts that showed delivered but never read. 2 weeks later, she booked a flight to Colorado. Bertam. The estate sat in the mountains like a fist. That's what Leora thought when the hired car wound up the private road, passing through iron gates that looked decorative until you noticed the cameras, the card readers, the way they closed with a hydraulic hiss that sounded final. The house itself was stone and glass, all sharp angles and cold elegance, the kind of place that appeared in architecture magazines and nightmares. Security met her at the entrance. 2 men in dark suits who checked her ID twice, scanned her bags, and walked her inside without smiling. The foyer smelled like lilies and money, chandeliers the size of compact cars, marble that swallowed footsteps, everything perfect, everything hollow. Miss Vance? A woman appeared, mid-40s, hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. I'm Clara. I'll show you to your room. I'm actually looking for Serena. Miss Hale is preparing for the rehearsal dinner. You'll see her tonight. Not a suggestion. Clara turned and walked, and Leora followed because what else was there to do? The guest room was bigger than Leora's entire apartment. 4-poster bed, windows overlooking a mountain valley that should have been beautiful but felt like a painting, something to look at, not live in. She dropped her bag and tried Serena's number again. Straight to voicemail. Yes. The rehearsal dinner happened in a ballroom that could have hosted a summit. 50 people Leora didn't know, wearing clothes that cost more than her monthly rent, drinking wine that probably cost more than her car. She spotted Serena across the room, blonde, elegant, wearing a dress the color of champagne, and felt relief crack through her chest. Then Serena turned, and Leora saw her face. Makeup flawless, smile fixed, eyes dead. Leora pushed through the crowd, but a hand caught her elbow. She spun. A man stood there, tall, maybe 30, dark hair and darker eyes, holding 2 glasses of champagne like props. You must be Leora, he said. Accent. Russian, maybe? Faint, but there. Serena's mentioned you. Who are you? Nico Volkov, cousin of the groom. He offered a glass. She didn't take it. He smiled like he expected that. You look worried. Do I? Like you're trying to solve a problem you can't name yet. He set both glasses on a passing waiter's tray. Word of advice? Don't try. Not here. What's that supposed to mean? But he was already walking away, melting into the crowd like smoke. Leora found Serena near the windows, surrounded by women laughing at something that wasn't funny. She wedged herself in, grabbed Serena's hand, squeezed hard. Bathroom, Leora said. Now. Serena's smile didn't waver, but her fingers tightened. Of course. Took. The bathroom was all black marble and gold fixtures, the kind of space designed to make you feel small. Leora locked the door and turned. What the hell is going on? Serena stood in front of the mirror, staring at her own reflection like she didn't recognize it. I'm getting married. You hate this. I can see it. You don't know what you're seeing. Serena, I'm fine. Serena's voice cracked on the word, just a hairline fracture, but it was there. She closed her eyes, breathed. When she opened them again, the mask was back. I'm fine, Leora. Really. You haven't answered my calls in 8 months. I've been busy. With what? Planning a wedding to a guy I've never heard you mention once in 15 years of friendship? Serena turned, and for just a second, Leora saw it. The terror, the exhaustion, the plea. Then Serena touched her arm, gentle, almost pitying. Go home, Serena whispered. Tonight. Don't come to the wedding. Just go home. What? The door handle rattled. Someone knocked, polite but insistent. Serena straightened, smoothed her dress, became someone else in the space between breaths. Coming, she called, voice bright. She left. Leora stood there, pulse hammering, staring at the space where her best friend had been. She didn't go home. The wedding was the next day, late afternoon, when the light turned everything gold and forgiving. Leora sat in the back row of white chairs arranged on the estate's western lawn, watching staff move through last-minute adjustments with military precision. 200 guests, string quartet, flower arrangements that looked like they cost more than her student loans. And at the front, standing beneath an arch of white roses, Adrian Volkov. Leora had seen photos. Serena's phone, unlocked for just a moment in the bathroom before she left. But photos didn't capture the way he occupied space. Mid-30s, maybe. Expensive suit tailored to a body that moved like violence on a leash. Dark hair combed back. A face that would have been handsome if it weren't for the eyes. Cold, assessing, empty of anything resembling warmth. He looked like a man who'd never asked for permission in his life. The music started. Guests stood. Serena appeared at the far end of the aisle, her father's arm linked through hers and Leora's throat closed. She looked perfect. Dress like liquid silk. Hair in soft waves, bouquet of white peonies trembling in her hands. Trembling. Leora watched her walk, each step measured, mechanical. Watched her father hand her off to Adrian like a transaction. Watched Adrian take her hand with a smile that didn't reach anywhere near his eyes. The officiant spoke. Words about love and commitment and forever. Adrian's responses came smooth, practiced. Serena's voice barely carried past the first row. Do you take this man? A pause. Too long. Leora leaned forward, heart climbing into her mouth. Serena's eyes found hers across 200 people, held, begged. I do, Serena whispered. The guests erupted in applause. Leora stayed seated, hands clenched in her lap, feeling like she'd just witnessed a murder. The reception was excess weaponized. Champagne towers, ice sculptures, a 7-tier cake that looked like architecture. Live band playing jazz standards while people who'd never struggled for anything danced and laughed and celebrated a union that felt like a funeral. Leora sat at her assigned table, table 14, far from the bride and groom, nursing bourbon she didn't want and watching. Adrian and Serena at the head table, his hand possessive on her lower back. Serena's smile never slipping, never reaching her eyes. People approaching to offer congratulations, and Serena thanking them with a voice that sounded scraped raw. Nico appeared again, sliding into the empty chair beside her. You're not dancing, he said. Neither are you. I don't celebrate things that shouldn't be celebrated. He leaned back, casual, but his eyes tracked the room with the same vigilance hers did. You should leave, tonight. Why does everyone keep telling me that? Because you're the kind of person who thinks they can fix things. He looked at her directly. You can't fix this. What is this exactly? He was quiet for a moment, weighing something. Then, a transaction. Serena's father owed Adrian money, a lot of money. Couldn't pay, so Adrian took payment another way. The bourbon turned to acid in Leora's stomach. He bought her. Debt settlement, marriage contract. Same thing, different paperwork. Nico's jaw tightened. Adrian doesn't do anything without leverage, and now he has it. Her family's safe. His empire expands. Everyone wins. Except Serena. Except Serena, Nico agreed quietly. Leora set down her glass before she threw it. I'm taking her out of here. You're not. Watch me. They won't let you leave. He said it flat, factual. You think those gates are decorative? You think the security is just for show? Adrian doesn't invite people here. He collects them. And you, he gestured at her, almost apologetic. You're Serena's best friend. You're leveraged too now. That's insane. That's reality. Nico stood, straightening his jacket. So do yourself a favor. Don't make trouble. Don't ask questions. And for God's sake, don't try to run. He walked away before she could respond. Leora tried to leave at midnight. The reception was winding down, guests starting to drift toward the estate's guest wing, drunk and laughing. She slipped out through a side door, crossed the lawn toward the main gates. The night was cold, mountain air sharp in her lungs, and her phone was already out, trying to call a cab, an Uber, anything. No signal. She walked faster. The gates were maybe a quarter-mile down the drive, iron silhouettes against the dark. She could see lights beyond them. The main road, civilization, freedom. 50 yards out, floodlights snapped on. She froze, blinded. 2 security guards stepped into the light, unhurried. "Miss Vance," one of them said, "it's late. You should head back to your room." "I'm leaving." "No, ma'am, you're not." She tried to push past. The guard caught her arm, not rough, but immovable. The other one moved to block the path. "Let go of me." "Mr. Volkov has asked that all guests remain on the estate through the weekend," the first guard said, toned police official. "For security purposes." "I don't give a damn what Mr. Volkov—" Miss Vance. A new voice, smooth and cold. Adrian appeared from the shadows near the gatehouse, still in his wedding suit, looking like he'd expected this. "Is there a problem?" Leora jerked her arm free and faced him. Up close, he was worse, taller, broader, presence like a wall. "I'm leaving." "You're not." He said it the way you'd state the weather. "The gates remain closed until Monday morning. My head of security will ensure all guests are comfortable and safe until then." "You can't keep me here." "I can, actually. This is private property. You're a guest who arrived voluntarily, and given the sensitive nature of my business, I can't have people coming and going without proper security clearance." His smile was a scalpel. "I'm sure you understand. This is kidnapping. This is hospitality, forced perhaps, but hospitality nonetheless." He gestured back toward the estate. "Your room is quite nice. I suggest you enjoy it." "And if I refuse?" Adrian looked at the guards. They stepped closer, not threatening, just present. "Don't make this difficult," Adrian said softly, "for Serena's sake." That stopped her. He saw it, and his smile widened a fraction. "Serena's very fond of you," he continued. "It would distress her to see you upset, and I dislike seeing my wife distressed." He tilted his head. "So be smart, Miss Vance. Go to your room. Sleep. Tomorrow, we'll all have breakfast together, and you'll see this was just a misunderstanding." Every instinct screamed at her to fight, to run, to do something, but the guards were armed. She could see the bulges under their jackets. And Adrian was standing there with the kind of calm that came from never losing. She turned and walked back toward the estate, feeling their eyes on her the entire way. Thumped. Her room's door didn't lock from the inside. She discovered that at 1 a.m., trying the mechanism again and again, refusing to believe it. But it was true. The lock was decorative, useless. She dragged a chair under the handle anyway and sat on the bed, phone in hand, searching for any signal. Nothing. Not a single bar. Someone knocked softly. She went still. "Leora?" Serena's voice muffled. "Can I come in?" Leora moved the chair and opened the door. Serena stood there in a silk robe, hair down, makeup scrubbed off. She looked 17 again, like the girl Leora met freshman year of college, before life got complicated. "You tried to leave," Serena said. "He told you." "He tells me everything." Serena slipped inside, closed the door, leaned against it. "You can't leave, Leora." "So everyone keeps saying." "I mean, you can't. He won't allow it. Not until he's sure you won't." She trailed off, searching for words. "Won't cause problems." "Problems like telling the police you were forced into marriage?" Serena laughed, sharp and bitter. "The police? Half of them are on Adrian's payroll. The other half are too scared to touch him." She moved to the window, staring out at the dark mountains. "My father owed him $3 million. Gambling debts, bad investments, I don't even know. Adrian gave him a choice, pay up or disappear. Dad couldn't pay. So Adrian offered an alternative. You, me. Serena's reflection in the glass looked like a ghost. Marry into the family, debt forgiven. Everyone goes home happy. That's not legal. It's not illegal if I agreed. Serena turned and her eyes were dry, all cried out. I signed papers, Leora. Contract, prenup, all of it. Witnessed by lawyers who get paid more in a month than you and I will see in a lifetime. It's airtight. Leora's hands curled into fists. So what? You just accept it? What choice do I have? Fight him? He'd destroy my family. Run? He'd find me. He has people everywhere, lawyers, politicians, cops. You don't understand what he is. This estate, the wedding, all of it, it's a fraction of what he controls. She sat on the bed, shoulders sagging. I'm trapped. And now, because you're my friend, because you tried to help, you're trapped too. For how long? I don't know. Until he decides you're not a threat, I guess. Serena looked at her, exhausted. I tried to warn you. I told you not to come. Yeah, well, I'm shit at following instructions. Leora sat beside her. We'll figure something out. There's nothing to figure out. There's always something. Serena laughed again, softer this time, almost affectionate. You haven't changed. Neither have you. Not really. They sat in silence, shoulders touching, while outside the mountains swallowed the world in darkness. Morning came with a knock, and Clara's voice announcing breakfast in 30 minutes. Leora dressed in yesterday's clothes and found her way to a dining room that seated 40 but hosted only 4. Adrian at the head of the table, Serena to his right, Nico across from her, and an empty chair clearly meant for Leora. Good morning, Adrian said, pleasant. I hope you slept well. Leora sat without answering. A staff member appeared immediately, pouring coffee she didn't touch. We're having a small gathering this afternoon, Adrian continued, cutting into an omelet that looked professionally prepared. Business associates, you're welcome to join us, or you can remain in your room, whichever you prefer. What I'd prefer is to leave. Monday, Adrian said, not looking up. As I mentioned. That's 2 days from now. Yes. Excellent math. He smiled. Consider it an extended weekend retreat. The estate has a library, a gym, a pool. I'm sure you'll find ways to entertain yourself. Leora looked at Serena, who was moving food around her plate without eating. Looked at Nico, who was studying his coffee like it held answers. What if I refuse to stay? Leora asked. Adrian finally looked at her and his eyes were reptile calm. Then I'll have security escort you to your room and ensure you remain there until Monday. Locked in. Alone. Is that what you'd prefer? The threat hung there, wrapped in civility. I didn't think so. Adrian returned to his breakfast. Serena, darling, you have that appointment at 2. Don't forget. I won't, Serena murmured. The rest of the meal passed in silence. The gathering that afternoon was exactly what Leora expected. Powerful men in expensive suits, discussing things in vague terms that sounded legal but felt dirty. She watched from a corner of the library, pretending to read, actually cataloging faces and names and fragments of conversation. Real estate deals in cities she'd never heard of. Shipping routes through Eastern Europe. Investments in emerging markets that sounded like money laundering with better PR. Adrian moved through it all like a conductor, orchestrating, controlling, never raising his voice but somehow dominating every conversation. And beside him, always, Serena. Silent, smiling, a decoration with a pulse. Nico found Leora around 4 when the gathering had devolved into cigars and whiskey. You're going to make yourself crazy, he said quietly. Already there. He almost smiled. Come with me. She followed him through the estate's maze of hallways, up a back staircase, onto a rooftop terrace she hadn't known existed. The view was staggering, mountains in every direction, valley below, sky so blue it hurt. I come here when I need to remember there's a world outside this place, Nico said, leaning against the railing. Doesn't always help, but sometimes. Why are you still here? Leora asked. If you hate it so much. Family, obligation, complicated history. He lit a cigarette, offered her one. She shook her head. My father and Adrian's father built this empire together. When they died, Adrian inherited everything. I got a title, a salary, and the illusion of choice. You could leave. I could. He exhaled smoke. But I stay because someone needs to limit the damage. Adrian has no brakes, no conscience. If I'm here, I can at least mitigate. Sometimes. Did you try to mitigate Serena? His jaw tightened. I tried to talk him out of it, offered alternatives. He wasn't interested. So you just let it happen. What would you have had me do? Put a gun to his head? Nico's voice went hard. You want to judge me? Fine. Get in line. But understand something. Adrian doesn't lose. Not arguments, not fights, not wars. You can resist him, and he'll crush you. Or you can play along, stay alive, and wait for an opening that might never come. That's not living. That's just slow dying. Yeah. Nico dropped the cigarette, crushed it under his heel. It is. They stood in silence, watching the sun start its descent. I need to get Serena out of here, Lior said finally. You can't. I have to try. Then you'll die trying. He looked at her, something like pity in his eyes. Or worse, you'll get her killed. Adrian doesn't tolerate rebellion, especially not from his wife. So what, she just endures? Forever? Until something changes. Nico turned away. Come on. We should get back before someone notices we're gone, like... The weekend stretched like a prison sentence. Leora spent Saturday exploring the estate's boundaries, finding cameras everywhere, guards stationed at every exit. Sunday, she tried the library's computers, internet access locked behind passwords she didn't have. Her phone remained useless, signal blocked by something she couldn't identify. She saw Serena in passing, always with Adrian or surrounded by staff, never alone, never free to talk. They exchanged glances that said everything and accomplished nothing. Monday morning, Clara appeared at Leora's door with a smile that looked carved. Your car is ready, Miss Vance. Mr. Volkov wanted to ensure you had a pleasant departure. Leora packed in silence, feeling relief and guilt in equal measure. She was leaving. Serena wasn't. Adrian met her at the front entrance, Serena beside him looking small in the daylight. I trust your stay was comfortable, Adrian said, extending a hand Leora didn't shake. It was illuminating. Good. Then we understand each other. He stepped closer, voice dropping. Serena values your friendship. I value Serena's happiness. So, let me be clear. You're welcome to visit, to call, to maintain that friendship. But if you ever try to interfere with my marriage, if you ever contact authorities or make trouble for this family, his smile was all teeth. I will make you regret it in ways you can't imagine. Are we clear? Every muscle in Leora's body screamed to fight, but Serena's eyes were pleading. Don't, please, just go. And Leora swallowed the rage. Clear, she said. Wonderful. Adrian stepped back. Serena, say goodbye to your friend. Serena hugged her, and in the space between breaths whispered, Don't come back, please. Then the car was moving, gates opening, estate shrinking in the rearview mirror. Leora watched until it disappeared, feeling like she'd left part of herself in that marble prison. She made it 4 miles before the car pulled over. Not mechanical failure. The driver, one of Adrian's men, turned in his seat, apologetic. I'm sorry, Miss Vance. There's been a change of plans. 2 other cars materialized from nowhere, boxing them in. Guards emerged, professional and calm. What is this? Leora demanded. Mr. Volkov has requested you return to the estate. Apparently there's been a security concern. Bullshit. Please don't make this difficult. They didn't hurt her, didn't even touch her, just opened the door and waited, and when she didn't move, one of them said, We can do this easy or hard, ma'am. She got out. They escorted her to another car, and as they drove back toward the estate, back toward the gates that closed with that hydraulic hiss, Leora understood with perfect, terrible clarity. She was never supposed to leave. This was always the plan. The gates opened. They drove through. The gates closed behind them. And somewhere in the estate, she could hear Serena screaming. The screaming stopped before Leora reached the front entrance. That was worse somehow. The silence that followed, heavy and wrong, like something had been severed. The guards walked her through the marble foyer where she'd first arrived 5 days ago, a lifetime ago, and every footstep echoed too loud. Clara appeared from a side hallway, face professionally blank. "Miss Vance, Mr. Volkov is waiting for you in his study." "Where's Serena?" "Resting. She had a difficult morning." "What did he do to her?" Clara's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Pity, maybe, or recognition. "This way, please." The study was all dark wood and leather, walls lined with books that looked expensive and unread. Adrian sat behind a desk the size of a small car, reading something on a tablet. He didn't look up when Leora entered. "Sit," he said. She stayed standing. He glanced up, almost amused. "I can have them make you sit, your choice." Leora sat. The chair was too soft, designed to make you feel small. Adrian set the tablet aside and leaned back, fingers steepled. "You're probably wondering why you're back. I'm wondering why I'm not calling the cops. Because you have no phone, no internet, and even if you did," he smiled, "I already told you how that would go, but we've covered that. Let's talk about why you're here instead of on a plane back to your sad little apartment in San Francisco." The casual cruelty landed exactly as intended. Leora felt her nails dig into her palms. "Serena had an episode this morning," Adrian continued. "Hysterics, crying, very unlike her. When I asked what was wrong, she said she was worried about you, about what might happen if you left, and started asking questions, making phone calls, causing trouble." He tilted his head. "She begged me, actually begged, to bring you back, to keep you safe. Here, with her." "Bullshit." "Is it?" Adrian opened a drawer, pulled out a phone, Serena's phone. Leora recognized the cracked screen protector, and tapped the screen. Serena's voice filled the room, broken and desperate. "Please, Adrian, please, just bring her back. I can't. I need her here, please." He stopped the playback. "She's very persuasive when she wants to be." Leora's throat closed. "You forced her to say that." "I didn't force anything. I simply explained the situation, that if you left, you might do something foolish. That foolish actions have consequences, that those consequences might extend to her family, her mother in Phoenix, her sister in Boston." His voice stayed level, factual. "Serena is a smart woman. She understood the stakes. You threatened her family. I stated facts. There's a difference." Adrian stood, walked to the window overlooking the valley. "Here's the reality, Miss Vance. You are now part of this household, not permanently. I'm not a monster. But until I'm confident you won't jeopardize what I've built, you'll remain here as Serena's companion. You'll have freedom of the estate, comfortable accommodations. Anything you need. Think of it as an extended vacation. Think of it as kidnapping. Think of it however you like. It doesn't change the situation." He turned back to her. "You have two options. Option 1, accept this gracefully. Support Serena. Make the best of it. Eventually, when enough time has passed and I'm satisfied, you'll be free to go. Option 2, fight me. Make trouble. Resist." His smile went cold. "I promise you won't like where that leads." "How long?" "How long what?" "How long until you're satisfied?" Adrian shrugged. "Weeks. Months. Depends entirely on your behavior." He sat on the edge of his desk, closer now. "I'm not unreasonable, Leora. I don't enjoy this. But I've spent 15 years building something that can't be threatened by one idealistic woman with a hero complex. So you'll stay until I know you're not a threat. Simple." Every word was a cage door closing. Leora forced herself to breathe, to think past the rage. "Can I see Serena?" "Of course. She's in the East Wing. Clara will show you." He picked up his tablet again, already dismissing her. "Oh, and Leora? Don't try to run again. Next time I won't be so patient." Gopas. Serena's room was twice the size of the guest quarters, decorated in whites and creams that felt like a hospital pretending to be a home. She sat by the window in a silk robe, staring out at nothing. Her eyes were red-rimmed, face pale. When Leora entered, she turned, and relief and shame crossed her features in equal measure. "I'm sorry," Serena whispered. "I'm so sorry." Leora crossed the room, knelt in front of her. "It's not your fault. He made me... I had to..." Her voice fractured. "He said, if you If you talk to anyone, he'd go after my mom, my sister. He described it, Leora. What he'd do. How he'd make it look like accidents. And I believed him because she pressed her hands to her face. Because I've seen what he does to people who cross him. What do you mean? Serena's hands dropped. Her eyes were hollow. There was a woman. Before me. Someone he was involved with. She tried to leave, tried to go to the police about his business. They found her car wrapped around a tree 3 days later. Single vehicle accident. No witnesses. Police ruled it driver error. She laughed, bitter. Adrian sent flowers to her funeral. The room felt colder. Leora sat back on her heels, processing. How do you know it was him? Because he told me. The night before our wedding, showed me the police report like it was a fucking Yelp review. Serena's voice went flat. He wanted me to understand what happens to people who don't cooperate, who don't play their roles. Jesus Christ. There is no Christ here. No salvation, just Adrian and his rules and the rest of us trying not to become warnings. Serena pulled her robe tighter. I'm sorry you're stuck here. I tried to keep you out. I tried so hard. I know. They sat in silence. Outside, staff moved across the lawn, preparing something. Tables, chairs, tent poles, always something being prepared, orchestrated, controlled. How long has it been? Leora asked. Since the wedding. 5 days. Feels like 5 years. Serena's laugh was raw. He's very patient, you know. Hasn't touched me. Not like that. Says he's waiting for me to adjust. Like I'm a new appliance that needs breaking in. Serena. Don't. Don't pity me. I can't handle pity right now. She stood, moved to a dresser, opened a drawer. Inside, pill bottles. A lot of them. The doctor prescribed these for anxiety, depression, sleep. I don't even know what half of them do, but they make the days blurry, easier. You're drugging yourself into compliance. I'm surviving. Serena closed the drawer. You'll understand soon enough. This place, it gets inside you, makes you tired, makes fighting feel pointless. I'm not giving up. You say that now. Serena turned and her expression was ancient. But wait until week 2, week 3, when every door is locked and every window is watched and every conversation is monitored. When you realize that nobody is coming, that nobody even knows you're gone. She moved closer. Adrian's right about one thing. I am a smart woman, smart enough to know when I'm beaten. You're not beaten. You're scared. Same thing here. A knock interrupted them. Clara, eternally punctual, eternally blank. Miss Vance, Mr. Volkov has assigned you quarters in the West Wing. I'll show you now. Leora looked at Serena, who just nodded, exhausted. Go, settle in. We'll talk later. Proceed. The West Wing room was nice, objectively nice. Queen bed, private bathroom, small sitting area with a couch and a TV that only played approved channels. Leora dropped her bag and immediately tried the door. It locked from the outside. She checked the windows. Second floor, 20-foot drop to flagstone patio. No balcony. No ledge. She turned on the TV. News channels showed static. Internet browser opened to a home page that loaded nothing else. Her phone, returned to her by Clara with a smile, had signal now, but only for calls within the estate's internal network. Useless. She sat on the bed and stared at the ceiling, feeling the walls close in. A different knock, softer. She opened the door. Nico stood there holding 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this. She took one without thanking him. He came in without being invited, shutting the door behind him. How bad did he threaten you? Nico asked. Bad enough. Yeah, he's good at that. Nico sat on the couch, looking tired. For what it's worth, he'll probably let you go eventually. He always does. Just has to make his point first. Which is what? That he's in control. Always. Of everything. Nico sipped his coffee. There was a journalist once. Started digging into Adrian's business connections. Adrian invited him here, showed him around, let him see just enough to understand how deep it went. Then sent him home with a very clear message. Publish anything, and people die. The journalist became a food blogger instead. You're telling me this to make me feel better? I'm telling you this so you understand what you're dealing with. He leaned forward. Adrian doesn't bluff. He doesn't make empty threats. If he says he'll hurt Serena's family, he will. If he says you're staying, you're staying. Fighting him directly is suicide. So what do you suggest? I just play along? I suggest you survive. Stay quiet. Don't antagonize him. Wait. Nico's eyes were steady. The Empire has cracks, small ones. I can't show you yet, too risky, but they're there. If you're patient, if you're smart, maybe there's a way out. But it won't be dramatic, it won't be heroic, it'll be slow and careful and probably unsatisfying. I'm not good at slow and careful. Learn fast. He stood. Dinner's at 7. Don't be late. Adrian hates tardiness. He left. Leora drank the coffee, which had gone lukewarm, and tasted like ashes. Dinner was in the smaller dining room, just 8 seats, occupied by Adrian, Serena, Nico, Leora, and 4 men Leora didn't recognize, but who radiated the same predatory competence as Adrian. They discussed business in euphemisms. Shipping routes became logistics, money laundering became asset optimization, and bribery became relationship management. Leora ate in silence, cataloging everything. Names, faces, fragments of conversation. One man, Victor, heavy accent, scarred knuckles, mentioned something about a delayed shipment from Odessa, and Adrian's expression went ice cold. We'll discuss that privately, Adrian said, and the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. After dinner, Adrian dismissed everyone except Serena. Leora hesitated, and Serena gave her the smallest head shake. Go. In the hallway, Victor fell into step beside Leora, smelling like expensive cologne and cigarettes. You are the friend, yes? The one who tried to run. I'm the prisoner, same as Serena. He laughed, loud and ugly. No, Devushka, not the same. Serena is wife. You are just leverage, big difference. Thanks for the clarification. I like you. You have fire. He leaned closer, breath hot. But fire gets you killed here, you understand? Leora stopped walking and faced him. He was 6 inches taller, 50 pounds heavier, but she'd grown up in Oakland and knew how to project fearlessness she didn't feel. Touch me, she said quietly, and I'll find a way to make you regret it. Victor's smile widened. See? Fire. He stepped back, hands raised. I am just being friendly. No harm. He walked away laughing. Leora's hands were shaking. She shoved them in her pockets and headed back to her room, feeling eyes on her the entire way. Looking. The first week bled into the second. Leora fell into a routine she hated. Breakfast alone, mornings in the library trying to find any information about the outside world, afternoons with Serena when Adrian allowed it, evenings pretending everything was normal. Serena deteriorated visibly. The pills increased. Her smiles became more automatic, her conversations more distant. She moved through the estate like a ghost, there but not present, and Leora watched helplessly. You have to stop taking those, Leora said one afternoon, sitting in Serena's room while rain hammered the windows. I have to do a lot of things I don't want to do. Serena swallowed 2 pills dry. This just makes it possible. It's making you disappear. Good. Maybe I'll disappear completely and he'll let me go. She laughed without humor. Or maybe I'll just stop caring. Either way, win-win. Serena, sir? Don't. Serena held up a hand. Don't try to save me, Leora. You can't. Nobody can. This is my life now. Medicated compliance in a marble cage. At least I'm still breathing. That's not living. It's the closest I'm going to get. The argument died there, strangled by truth neither of them wanted to face. To us. Week 3 brought a shift. Adrian started including Leora in more activities, dinners with business associates, afternoon gatherings in the library, even a trip to the estate's wine cellar to select bottles for some upcoming event. At first, Leora thought it was testing. Then she realized it was normalization. He was teaching her to accept captivity as routine. You're adjusting well, Adrian said one evening, pouring wine she didn't want. They were alone in the library, rain still falling outside. I appreciate that. I don't have much choice. There's always a choice. You're choosing wisely. He sat across from her, relaxed. Serena speaks highly of you, says your presence has helped her settle in. She's miserable. She's adjusting. Like you. Adrian swirled his wine. I know you think I'm a monster. Maybe I am, but I take care of what's mine. Serena wants for nothing. Neither will you, as long as you play your role. Which is what exactly? Companion, friend, witness to her happiness. He smiled. See how well I treat my wife? See how comfortable she is? You're proof that I'm not the villain you want me to be. You kidnapped us both. I provided security and stability in an uncertain world. He leaned forward. Tell me, Leora, what were you doing in San Francisco? Working some dead-end job, struggling to pay rent, wondering if you'd ever amount to anything? Here, you have everything. Food, shelter, safety. All you have to surrender is the illusion of freedom you never really had anyway. The words were poison dressed as logic, and Leora felt them trying to take root. I want to leave, she said. No, you don't. You want to leave. There's a difference. Adrian stood. But I'm a patient man. We'll talk again when you're ready to be honest. He left her sitting there, wine untouched, feeling like she'd lost an argument she hadn't known she was having. Nico found her on the roof terrace that night, the spot he'd shown her weeks ago. She didn't ask how he knew she'd be there. He's good at this, Nico said, lighting a cigarette. Getting inside your head, making you doubt yourself. I'm not doubting anything. Liar. He exhaled smoke. You're starting to wonder if he's right, if leaving is even worth it, if maybe this life is easier than what you had before. Go to hell. Already there. He offered the cigarette. This time she took it, inhaled, coughed. He smiled faintly. You're not a smoker. I am now, apparently. They stood in silence, passing the cigarette back and forth. Below, the estate glowed like a luxury prison. Beautiful. Suffocating. I've been here 6 years, Nico said eventually. 6 years of telling myself I'm staying to limit the damage, to protect people, to wait for the right moment. You know what I've realized? What? There is no right moment. The Empire doesn't have cracks. I lied about that. It's solid. Adrian's too smart, too connected, too careful. The only way out is to stop existing in ways that matter to him. He looked at her. Serena's figured that out. That's why the pills. She's erasing herself so there's nothing left for him to control. That's not a solution. It's survival, which is all any of us get here. Leora wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come. She handed back the cigarette and headed inside, feeling something precious dying in her chest. Week 4 shattered on a Wednesday. Leora was in the library when she heard shouting, male voices, Russian, angry. She moved toward the sound, found a hallway where Adrian and Victor faced each other, inches apart, both radiating violence. You're undermining me, Adrian said, voice deadly quiet. I'm questioning stupidity, Victor shot back. The Odessa deal is too exposed. Police are watching. We wait. We don't wait. We move now or we lose the window. Then we lose it. Better than losing everything. Adrian hit him, fast, brutal, a punch to the jaw that snapped Victor's head sideways. Victor staggered, spit blood, and came back swinging. They crashed into the wall, grappling, and Leora pressed herself into a doorway as security rushed in. It took 4 men to separate them. Victor's mouth was bleeding. Adrian's knuckles were split. They stared at each other with pure hatred. You're done, Adrian said. Pack your things. You're out. You can't. I own you. I can do whatever I want. Adrian straightened his jacket. Be gone by tonight, or be gone permanently. Your choice. Victor's eyes found Leora, and something flickered there. Rage, calculation, opportunity. Then security was escorting him away, and Adrian was turning toward her. How much did you hear? Nothing. I just got here. He studied her, weighing truth. Good. Go back to your room. She went, pulse hammering, mind racing. The Empire had cracks. Not structural, personal. Adrian and Victor hated each other. That was something. That was leverage, if she could figure out how to use it. Kids. That night, someone knocked on her door at 2 a.m. Leora opened it to find Victor, drunk, swaying. We need to talk, he slurred. You should go. You want out, yes? I can help. That stopped her. How? He pushed past her into the room, reeking of vodka. Adrian is shipping something tomorrow night. Big deal. If it goes wrong, he loses everything. Money, connections, power. What's that got to do with me? I make it go wrong. You help. He falls. We all walk free. Victor's eyes were bloodshot but focused. I have allies, people who hate him. We move fast. We can break him. You're talking about starting a war. I am talking about ending one. He grabbed her arm. You want freedom? This is how. We hit him when he's vulnerable, tomorrow, during the shipment. Let go of me. You're scared, I understand. But scared forever or scared one night? Choose. The door opened. Nico stood there, expression dark. Get out, Victor. We are having conversation. You're drunk and you're about to do something stupid. Nico stepped inside. Leave, now. Victor laughed, ugly. Little Nico, always protecting master. You are dog, you know this? And you're a dead man if you don't walk away. They faced each other, tension crackling. Then Victor shrugged, stumbled toward the door. Think about it, he told Leora. Tomorrow night. You want out? You find me. He left. Nico closed the door, locked it. Don't listen to him, Nico said. He's offering a way out. He's offering a suicide mission. Nico's voice was hard. Victor's been skimming money for months. Adrian knows. This isn't about freedom. It's about Victor trying to save himself by burning everything down. You get involved, you die in the fire. How do you know he's been skimming? Because I'm the one who told Adrian. Nico met her eyes. I'm not the good guy here, Leora. I've done things, terrible things. I stay alive by being useful and by knowing when to betray people before they betray me. Then why warn me? Because Serena would be devastated if something happened to you, and unlike Adrian, I actually care about that. He moved toward the door. Stay in your room tomorrow night. Lock the door. Whatever happens, don't get involved. What's going to happen? Nico paused, hand on the doorknob. Victor's going to try to run. Adrian's going to stop him. It won't be pretty. He looked back. And if you're smart, you'll be nowhere near it. He left. Leora sat on the bed, mind spinning. Tomorrow night. A shipment. Victor desperate. Adrian vulnerable. Maybe Nico was right. Maybe it was suicide. Or maybe it was the only chance she'd get. The next day crawled. Leora tried to act normal. Breakfast, library, avoiding Serena because lying to her face felt impossible. Adrian was gone most of the day, off estate for the first time since she'd arrived. The staff moved with nervous energy, preparing something nobody would explain. Evening came. Dinner was quiet, just Serena, Nico, and Leora. Adrian's chair empty. Where is he? Serena asked Clara. Business meeting, he'll return late. After dinner, Serena went to bed early, exhausted. Nico disappeared. Leora went to her room and sat in the dark, watching the clock. 10 p.m. Nothing. 11 p.m. Voices in the hallway, tense and quick. Midnight. Gunfire. Distant but unmistakable. 3 shots. Rapid, somewhere on the grounds. Leora went to the window. Security running across the lawn, flashlights cutting the dark. More shots, shouting in Russian. Her door flew open. Nico breathing hard. We're leaving, now. What? Victor tried to hijack the shipment. Failed. Adrian's people are hunting him. In about 5 minutes, this place is going to be a war zone. He grabbed her arm. There's a service entrance, east side. Gates unmanned. We have maybe a 10-minute window. I'm not leaving without Serena. She's with Adrian, under guard. We can't get to her. Then I'm not going. Leora! More gunfire, closer now. Glass shattered somewhere below. Nico swore in Russian. Fine. Your funeral. He pulled a gun from his jacket. Small, black, terrifying. Stay behind me. Move fast. Don't stop. They ran. The hallway was chaos, staff fleeing, security shouting coordinates, smoke starting to curl from the west wing. They took a back staircase, emerged into a kitchen where staff huddled behind counters. Through a service corridor, past storage rooms, toward a door that should have been locked but hung open. Outside, the night was alive with violence. Gunfire from multiple directions. Men running, engines revving. Nico pulled her toward the tree line, and they were 20 feet from cover when lights pinned them. A car screeched to a stop. Victor behind the wheel, passenger door open. Get in! He screamed. Nico raised his gun. Don't! Victor fired first. The bullet caught Nico in the shoulder, spun him sideways. He hit the ground hard. Leora dropped beside him, hands coming away bloody. "Nico, go!" he gasped. "Run! Now!" Victor's voice. "Last chance!" Leora looked at Nico, bleeding, maybe dying. Looked at Victor, desperate, dangerous. Looked at the estate, burning, collapsing. No good choices. Only terrible ones. She ran toward Victor's car, made it 5 steps before security tackled her from behind, driving her face first into gravel. Pain exploded across her cheek. Hands wrenched her arms back. Someone zip-tied her wrists. Victor's car roared away, taillights disappearing into darkness. They hauled her upright. Adrian stood there, suit jacket gone, shirt bloody, holding a gun that still had smoke curling from the barrel. His face was empty of everything except cold assessment. "Disappointing," he said. He nodded to security. They dragged her back toward the estate, back toward the burning West Wing, back toward whatever punishment he'd decided she'd earned. And the last thing Leora saw before they threw her into darkness was Serena standing in a doorway, watching, mouth open in a silent scream. The darkness had texture. That's what Leora learned in the first hour. That complete absence of light wasn't empty. It was thick, pressing against her eyeballs like something physical. The room they'd thrown her into had no windows, no cracks, no variation in the black. Just 4 walls she couldn't see, and a concrete floor that smelled like mildew, an old fear. Her wrists were still zip-tied behind her back. Her face throbbed where she'd hit the gravel. She could feel swelling around her left eye, taste copper where her teeth had cut the inside of her cheek. Every breath echoed slightly, suggesting the space was small. Maybe 8 feet by 8 feet. A cell, essentially. A hole to put problems in until they stopped being problems. She'd been screaming for the first 20 minutes. Screaming for Serena, for help, for anyone. Her throat was raw now, voice scraped down to nothing. Nobody had come. Nobody would come. That was the point. Time became meaningless. Could have been 2 hours. Could have been 6. Her legs cramped from sitting. She tried to stand, misjudged the space, cracked her shoulder into a wall hard enough to see stars behind her eyelids, slid back down, waited. The door opened without warning, light so bright it felt like violence, blinding after the total dark. Leora squeezed her eyes shut, tears streaming, and rough hands grabbed her arms, hauled her upright. Her legs barely worked. They half carried, half dragged her out of the cell, down a hallway that smelled like concrete and gunpowder, upstairs that her feet kept missing. They emerged into a part of the estate she'd never seen, basement level, utilitarian, all exposed pipes and fluorescent lights. The kind of space that didn't appear in architectural magazines. The kind designed for things you didn't photograph. They threw her into a chair, metal, bolted to the floor, cut the zip ties. Before she could move, new restraints locked her wrists to the armrests, her ankles to the legs, tight enough to feel permanent. Adrian walked in still wearing the bloody shirt from earlier. He looked tired. Not angry, not upset. Just tired, like she was paperwork he hadn't wanted to deal with. "Water," he said to someone behind her. A bottle appeared. Adrian opened it, held it to her lips. She turned her head. "Drink," he said. "You're dehydrated. This conversation will go better if you're lucid." She wanted to spit at him, but her mouth was so dry, her tongue stuck to her teeth, and pride seemed stupid measured against basic biology. She drank. Too fast. Choked. He waited patiently until she finished, then set the empty bottle aside and pulled up a chair, sitting across from her like they were having coffee. "Victor's dead," Adrian said conversationally. "Nico's in surgery. He'll probably survive, though he'll wish he hadn't. The shipment was secured, minimal losses. All things considered, the night could have gone worse." Leora said nothing. Her voice wouldn't work yet anyway. "What I'm trying to understand," Adrian continued, "is your role in all this. Were you working with Victor? Did he approach you earlier? Or was this just spectacularly bad timing on your part?" "I don't know what you're talking about." The words came out cracked, barely audible. "Leora." He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "I have security footage of Victor entering your room last night. I have witness statements that you were seen talking to him. And I have you running toward his car during an active firefight, which suggests either collaboration or breathtaking stupidity." He tilted his head. So which is it? He said he could help me escape. I was desperate, that's all. Desperate enough to trust a drunk who was actively stealing from me. I didn't know he was stealing from you. Didn't you? Adrian's smile was surgical. Or did you know exactly what he was, and you decided that criminal stupidity was preferable to patience? I decided that anything was preferable to staying here. Yes, and that decision nearly got you killed. He stood, walked to a table she hadn't noticed, picked up something. A tablet. Turned it to face her. Security footage played in grainy black and white. Victor's car speeding toward the gate. Security opening fire, the car swerving, crashing into a concrete barrier, erupting in flames. No one crawled out. Adrian stopped the video. That would have been you. Burning alive because you trusted the wrong person. Leora looked away. Her stomach churned. I'm going to ask you some questions, Adrian said, setting the tablet down. Answer honestly, and this stays civil. Lie, and we'll go somewhere much less pleasant. Clear? She nodded. Did Nico know you were planning to run? No, he tried to stop me. Did he tell you about the shipment beforehand? No, he warned me to stay in my room, said something bad was going to happen. And you ignored him. Obviously. Adrian processed this, expression unreadable. Did Victor tell you anything about his plans? Names, locations, contacts? No. He just said if I helped him sabotage the shipment, you'd fall and we'd all be free. That's it. Did you believe him? Leora met his eyes. I wanted to believe him. There's a difference. That seemed to satisfy something. Adrian walked to the wall, leaned against it, arms crossed. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to stay in isolation for the next 72 hours. No light, no contact, minimal food, and water. It's not punishment. It's recalibration. You need to understand what happens when you make poor choices. That's torture. No. Torture would involve actual pain. This is just sensory deprivation. Uncomfortable, yes. Enlightening, absolutely. He pushed off the wall. After that, assuming you haven't completely broken, we'll reevaluate your status. If you can demonstrate that you've learned from this mistake, perhaps we move forward. If not, he shrugged. Then we find other arrangements. What other arrangements? Don't ask questions you don't want answered. He nodded to someone behind her. Take her back. Wait, what about Serena? Is she? Serena is fine. Medicated, sleeping, completely unaware that her best friend tried to abandon her. His voice went cold. When she wakes up, I'll decide what to tell her. Maybe the truth. Maybe something kinder. Depends on how charitable I'm feeling. They hauled her up. She tried to fight, but her legs were numb, useless. They carried her like cargo back down to the darkness, threw her inside, slammed the door. The black swallowed everything. 72 hours in the dark did things to a mind. Leora learned that around hour 30, when she started seeing lights that weren't there. Phosphorescent swirls behind her eyelids that moved like living things. Hallucinations, probably. Brain trying to manufacture stimulus where none existed. She pressed her palms against her eyes until colors exploded, then released, watched the show. Anything to break the monotony. They brought food twice that she could count. Maybe more. She kept losing time. Protein bars that tasted like cardboard. Water in plastic bottles. Someone would open the door, light flooding in painful and brief, slide the items inside, close the door before her eyes adjusted. She tried talking to them once. They didn't respond, probably under orders. She slept in fragments, curled on the concrete, dreams bleeding into waking until she couldn't tell which was which. In one, Serena stood over her, pill bottle in hand, whispering, "You should have stayed gone." In another, Victor burned, screaming her name. She woke choking on nothing, heart slamming, convinced the room was full of smoke. By hour 50, she'd stopped counting, stopped caring. The dark became normal. Reality became negotiable. She talked to herself. Full conversations, arguments, confessions. Apologized to Serena, cursed Adrian, asked her dead father if he was proud of how thoroughly she'd fucked everything up. He didn't answer. Nobody did. Hour 70-something, she started laughing. It bubbled up from nowhere, manic and wrong, echoing off walls she couldn't see. She laughed until it turned into sobbing, then back to laughing, then into a sound that was neither just raw noise from a throat that felt shredded. When the door finally opened, she didn't even flinch. The light was just another hallucination. The hands pulling her upright were just another dream. "Can you walk?" A voice. Male. Unfamiliar. She tried. Her legs folded. They carried her again. Upstairs. Through hallways. Into brightness that stabbed through her skull like knives. A bathroom. She recognized tile, a mirror she refused to look at. They sat her on the edge of a bathtub. "Clean up," the voice said. "You have 20 minutes." The door closed. She sat there, staring at her hands, which looked like they belonged to someone else. Pale. Shaking. Nails cracked. The shower took 10 minutes to figure out. Her fingers wouldn't grip the faucet properly. When hot water hit her skin, she gasped. The sensation was overwhelming, almost painful after days of nothing. She stood under the stream, watching dirt and blood swirl down the drain, trying to remember what it felt like to be a person instead of a problem. Clean clothes waited on the counter. Simple, gray, institutional. She dressed mechanically, looked in the mirror finally and saw a stranger, face gaunt, eyes still swollen and bruised purple-yellow, hair plastered wet against a skull that looked too prominent. She looked like a survivor of something terrible. She looked like proof. The door opened. Clara stood there, expression professionally neutral. "Mr. Volkov would like to see you." Godson. Adrian's office this time. Daylight through windows showed mountains and valley, a world that had continued existing while she'd been buried alive. He sat behind his desk, working on a laptop, barely glancing up when she entered. "Sit." She sat. The chair was normal, not bolted down, no restraints. She could run. Probably wouldn't make it 10 feet, but the option existed. Adrian closed the laptop, studied her with the same clinical assessment she'd seen on surgeons before they cut. "How do you feel?" "Like I've been in a hole for 3 days. "Yes, that was the idea." He opened a drawer, pulled out a manila folder. "I've been reviewing your situation, trying to decide what to do with you." "You could let me go." "I could, but we both know I won't." He opened the folder. "What I can do is give you a choice. Option 1, you return to your previous arrangement, Serena's companion, limited freedom of the estate, all the restrictions we discussed before. You'll be watched more closely now, obviously. No more rooftop meetings with Nico, no more unsupervised time. But eventually, if you behave, you'll be released. And option 2, you leave. Today, right now. I'll have a car take you to the airport, first-class ticket anywhere you want." He watched her face. "Catch is, you never contact Serena again. No calls, no emails, no showing up at her doorstep in 5 years. You disappear from her life completely and permanently." The words hit like a fist. "You're making me choose between my freedom and my best friend. I'm making you choose between 2 different kinds of imprisonment, one here with Serena, one out there alone." He leaned back. "Which sounds better?" "Neither sounds better. They both sound like you win." "Because I do. Always." He smiled without warmth. "But one option gives you fresh air and the illusion of autonomy. The other gives you Serena. Can't have both, so choose." Leora's hands clenched in her lap. Every instinct screamed to take the out, to run, to save herself. But the image of Serena alone in this place, drugged and diminishing, was a hook in her chest. "If I stay," she said slowly, "do I get to see her, talk to her?" "Within reason, and under supervision." "Does she know what happened? That I tried to run?" "She knows there was an incident. She knows Victor's dead. She doesn't know you were involved." Adrian tapped the folder. "I can keep it that way. Or I can tell her the truth, that you tried to abandon her when things got difficult. Your choice which story she hears." "That's not fair. Life's not fair. I'm just honest about it." He closed the folder. "You have 60 seconds to decide. After that, I decide for you." The clock on the wall ticked. 45 seconds. 30. Leora thought about San Francisco, her apartment, her job that barely paid rent, the freedom that had always felt more like loneliness than liberation. Thought about Serena, fading a little more each day, becoming a ghost in silk and diamonds. 15 seconds. "I stay," Leora said. Adrian nodded like he'd expected nothing else. Smart. Serena needs you. Whether you need her, he shrugged. That's your problem to solve. He pressed a button on his desk. Clara appeared. Show Miss Vance to her new quarters, the East Wing, 3rd floor. New quarters? Leora asked. Closer to Serena's room, easier to supervise. Adrian was already opening his laptop again, dismissing her. Oh, and Leora? Next time you think about running, and there will be a next time, remember what 3 days in the dark felt like. I can make that permanent. Wait, the new room was smaller. One window, barred. No TV. A bed, a chair, a lamp. Camera in the corner, red light blinking. They weren't even pretending anymore. Leora sat on the bed and stared at the camera until Clara knocked, told her Serena was asking for her. Serena's room looked the same, whites and creams and that hospital feeling. But Serena looked worse, thinner, paler, eyes glassy from whatever cocktail of pills kept her compliant. She brightened when Leora entered, then frowned. What happened to your face? I fell, clumsy. The lie tasted like rot. You should be more careful. Serena patted the bed beside her. I missed you. Where have you been? Just around, keeping to myself. Adrian said there was trouble, that someone tried to steal from him. People died. Her voice was dreamy, disconnected. It's scary how violent the world is. Yeah, scary. They sat in silence. Serena leaned her head on Leora's shoulder, and Leora could smell the pills on her breath. Chemical, sterile. I'm glad you're here, Serena whispered. I don't know what I'd do without you. Leora closed her eyes. Me either. The lie cemented itself between them. Another brick in the wall they were both trapped behind. Days turned into weeks. Leora fell into the new routine, breakfast alone, mornings in the library under Clara's watchful eye, afternoons with Serena when Adrian allowed it. The camera in her room watched everything. She started sleeping in her clothes, changing in the bathroom with the door closed, paranoid about what they were seeing, recording, cataloging. Nico appeared one afternoon in the library, arm in a sling, moving carefully. He sat across from her without asking permission. You look like shit, he said. You've been shot. You look worse. His smile was brief. Fair. He glanced at Clara, who was pretending not to listen from across the room. Lowered his voice. I told Adrian you didn't know about Victor's plan, that you were just desperate, not complicit. Thanks, I guess. Don't thank me. I did it for Serena, not you. He shifted, wincing. But for what it's worth, I get it. The desperation. It does things to judgment. Is that an apology for getting shot? It's an acknowledgement that we're all making terrible choices to survive. He stood carefully. Just don't make any more. Please. I can't keep running interference. He left. Leora went back to her book, not reading, just staring at words that meant nothing. Week 6 brought a shift. Adrian started traveling more, business trips, sometimes overnight. The estate felt different without him, slightly less oppressive, like everyone could breathe a bit deeper. Serena seemed more alert during these absences, reducing her pills voluntarily, having actual conversations instead of medicated monologues. He's expanding, she said one afternoon while Adrian was in Chicago. They were in her room, door open per the rules, Clara stationed in the hallway. Buying properties, making deals. He thinks I don't pay attention, but I do. What kind of deals? The kind that involve shell companies and offshore accounts. Serena picked at her cuticles. I've been married to him for 2 months, and I've learned more about money laundering than 4 years of business school ever taught me. Why are you telling me this? Serena looked at her directly, and for the first time in weeks, her eyes were clear. Because I'm tired of pretending I don't see what he is, what this is. She dropped her voice to barely a whisper. And because I think we're running out of time. What do you mean? He's been talking about moving, leaving the country, something about federal investigators getting too close. She grabbed Leora's hand. If he moves us somewhere else, somewhere more remote, more controlled, we'll never get out. This might be our only chance. Leora's pulse quickened. Chance for what? I don't know yet, but I'm working on it. Serena squeezed her hand. I know you tried to run. Adrian told me. He said you were going to abandon me. Leora's stomach dropped. Serena, I don't believe him. I know you. You wouldn't. Her grip tightened. But if we're going to do this, really do this, we have to do it together. No more solo missions, no more trusting people like Victor. Just us. Promise me. I promise. Serena released her hand, and just like that, the clarity faded. She reached for her pills, swallowed two, became softer at the edges again. Sorry, she murmured. I have to. He counts them. If I don't take enough, he notices. It's okay. No, it's not. But it's survival. She lay back on the bed, staring at the ceiling. You know what's funny? I used to think survival was this noble thing, enduring, persisting. Now I know it's just cowardice with better PR. You're not a coward. Neither are you. Serena's eyes closed. But we might have to become something worse to get out of here. The opportunity came 3 weeks later during one of Adrian's Chicago trips. Leora was in the library when Nico appeared, moving quickly despite the healing shoulder. Come with me, now. What? Don't ask questions. Just move. She followed him through hallways she'd never seen, down service corridors, into a storage room filled with cleaning supplies. He closed the door, locked it. I have something to show you, but you can't tell anyone. Not Serena, not Clara. Nobody. He pulled out his phone, the first phone Leora had seen in months that had actual service. Opened a video file. Pressed play. The footage was grainy from a security camera. Showed Adrian's office. Adrian behind the desk, talking to someone off camera. The audio was muffled, but Leora could make out fragments. Federal warrant, move everything offshore. If they find the accounts. The camera angle shifted, showed Adrian pulling files from a safe, spreading them on the desk. Documents. Bank statements. Passports with different names. Then the person he was talking to stepped into frame. Clara. Leora's blood went cold. In the video, Clara leaned over the desk, pointing at documents, speaking rapidly. Adrian nodded, made notes. They were planning something together. Coordinates, movements, contingencies. Clara's not just staff, Nico said quietly. She's FBI. Deep cover. Has been for 18 months. The room tilted. What? Adrian doesn't know. Nobody knows except me, and I only found out by accident when I hacked his security system looking for... Doesn't matter. Point is, she's building a case, gathering evidence. When Adrian moves his operation overseas, she moves in. Why are you telling me this? Nico stopped the video. Because when the FBI raids this place, it's going to be violent. Warrants, arrests, chaos. And in that chaos, people are going to run. Adrian, his associates, everyone. He looked at her directly. Including you and Serena if you're smart. You want us to escape during the raid. I want you to be ready. I don't know when it'll happen. Could be days, could be weeks. But when it does, you need to grab Serena and run. Don't stop. Don't look back. Just get as far from here as possible. What about you? I'll be fine. I've got my own exit strategy. He pocketed the phone. But you need to prepare Serena. Get her off those pills. Get her strong enough to run when the time comes. She's barely functional. Then make her functional. Because if she's still drugged when this goes down, Adrian's going to disappear with her and you'll never see her again. His expression was hard. You wanted a way out. This is it. Don't waste it. He unlocked the door, left her standing there, mind reeling. FBI. Clara was FBI. The revelation reorganized everything she thought she knew. Every conversation Clara had overheard, every movement she'd supervised, all of it feeding back to some case file, some investigation. And when it broke, the estate would become a war zone. Leora returned to her room, sat on the bed, and started planning. Well, getting Serena off the pills was harder than expected. I can't, Serena said when Leora first suggested it. He notices. He always notices. Then we fake it. I'll take half, you take half. He counts, but he doesn't watch you swallow. If he finds out, he won't. Trust me. It took a week to convince her, another week to execute. They started small, cutting pills in half, Serena taking one piece, Leora pocketing the other. Adrian never said anything. Either he didn't notice or didn't care. By week 3, Serena was taking a quarter of her normal dose. The change was visible. More energy, clearer eyes, actual emotions breaking through the pharmaceutical haze. I forgot what anger felt like, she said one morning, staring at her breakfast like it had personally offended her. I forgot you could feel anything this sharp. Is that good or bad? Both. She pushed the plate away. I'm remembering why I needed the pills. This place is unbearable when you're actually present for it. Then we don't stay present much longer. Serena looked at her. You have a plan. Working on it. Does it involve us dying? Hopefully not. Good enough. Serena stood, stretched. For the first time in months, she looked like herself. Whatever it is, I'm in. Just tell me when. The raid happened on a Tuesday. Leora woke to gunfire. Not the scattered shots from Victor's failed escape, but sustained, professional, overwhelming. She rolled out of bed, hit the floor as her window exploded inward, glass raining down. The door burst open. Not security, not Clara. A man in tactical gear with FBI across his chest. Don't move! Hands where I can see them! She raised her hands. I'm a victim here. Everyone's a victim until they're not. Stay down. He was gone before she could respond. In the hallway, chaos. People running, shouting, more gunfire. She crawled to the doorway, looked out. The estate was swarming with federal agents. Battering rams taking doors, flashbangs erupting in distant rooms. Serena. Leora ran. The hallway was full of smoke, tactical lights cutting through haze. She dodged agents, ignored shouted commands, focused on getting to Serena's room. The door was open. Inside, empty. Bed made. Pills scattered across the nightstand like someone had left in a hurry. Serena! Leora screamed. A hand grabbed her arm. She spun. Nico, bleeding from a cut above his eye, breathing hard. She's with Adrian, West Wing. He's trying to get her out. Show me. They ran together through the carnage. The West Wing was worse. Gunfire echoing from multiple directions, agents advancing room by room. Nico led her to a back staircase down to the basement level where this had all started. At the end of the corridor, a door. Steel. No windows. Service tunnel, Nico panted. Leads to a garage a quarter mile out. If Adrian gets there, Leora kicked the door. Locked. Kicked again. Nothing. Move. Nico pulled his gun, different from before, bigger, and shot the lock. 3 times. The door swung open. The tunnel was concrete, lit by emergency strips, stretching into darkness. Somewhere ahead, voices. One of them Serena's. They ran. The voices got closer. Then, a door, half open, light beyond. Leora burst through into a concrete garage, 3 cars parked, engine running on a black SUV. Adrian stood beside it, gun pressed to Serena's temple. Stop right there, he said calmly. Leora froze. Nico raised his gun, but Adrian just smiled. You shoot me. Reflex pulls the trigger. She dies. You know that, Nico. Let her go, Leora said. The FBI's here. You're done. Letting her go is the only move you have. No. Taking her with me is the only move I have. Adrian's free hand opened the SUV door. She's my insurance, my leverage. You think the FBI cares about one woman when they can have the whole empire? They'll trade. You're delusional, Nico said. I'm a realist. Adrian pushed Serena toward the car. She was crying, silent tears tracking down her face. Get in. Don't, Leora begged. Serena, don't. Serena looked at her. Mouthed, I'm sorry. Then she drove her elbow back into Adrian's ribs, twisted away from the gun, and ran. Adrian's shot went wide, punching a hole in the concrete wall. Nico fired twice, hitting Adrian's center mass. He staggered, dropped his gun, looked almost surprised. You shot me, he said to Nico. Yeah. Nico's voice was hollow. I did. Adrian collapsed. Blood spread under him, dark and fast. Serena reached Leora, grabbed her, held on like drowning. Behind them, footsteps. Voices. Federal agents pouring into the garage, weapons drawn, shouting commands. Hands up! Everyone hands up now! Leora and Serena raised their hands. Nico dropped his gun, did the same. More agents, more weapons. Someone was checking Adrian, calling for medical. Someone else was separating Leora from Serena, pushing them apart despite their protests. No, she's a victim. Let her go. We'll sort it out at the field office. Right now, everyone's in custody. They zip-tied Leora's wrists, walked her out of the garage through a different tunnel into daylight that hurt after weeks of the estate's controlled interior. Vehicles everywhere, FBI vans, police cars, ambulances, news helicopters circling overhead. The estate was a crime scene now, all its secrets spilling out. They put her in the back of a van. Through the window, she saw Serena being loaded into a different vehicle. Saw Nico talking to agents, calm and cooperative. Saw Clara wearing an FBI windbreaker, directing teams. The van door closed. Engine started. They drove away from the mountains toward civilization, toward whatever came next. Leora pressed her face against the window, watching the estate shrink in the distance, and felt something break inside her chest, relief and terror in equal measure. They were out. But free? That remained to be seen. The FBI field office in Denver was all fluorescent lights and bad coffee. Leora sat in an interrogation room for 6 hours before anyone spoke to her. When they finally did, it was Clara, except now she introduced herself as Special Agent Clara Morrison, and her professional blankness had been replaced by something harder. "You're not under arrest," Clara said, sitting across the table. "But you're not free to go either. We need to establish your role in all this." "I was a prisoner, like Serena." "Were you?" Clara opened a folder. "Because we have evidence of you collaborating with Viktor Sokolov in a plot to hijack Adrian Volkov's shipment. We have footage of you running toward his vehicle during the firefight. Viktor approached me. I was desperate. I didn't know what else to do. Desperation makes people do interesting things." Clara pulled out photos. Surveillance shots of Leora in the library, on the roof with Nico, in Serena's room. "You had remarkable freedom for a prisoner. Access to most of the estate, conversations with key figures. Some might say you were more asset than victim." "That's insane!" "Is it? Or did you play a role? Help maintain the illusion of normalcy, keep Serena compliant?" Clara's eyes were cold. Adrian Volkov ran a criminal empire worth $300 million. He didn't do that alone. Everyone in that house contributed something. Leora's hands clenched. "I contributed by trying to keep my best friend alive. That's it." "Then help us prove that. Tell us everything, every conversation, every detail, every person you interacted with." Clara pushed a legal pad across the table. "Start writing." Oshem. Leora wrote for hours, pages and pages of everything she could remember. Dates, names, conversations, layouts, routines. The words blurred together until her hand cramped and her eyes burned. When she finished, Clara took the pad, flipped through it, nodded. "Serena's telling the same story. That helps." She stood. "We're holding Adrian at the hospital under guard. He'll survive to stand trial, probably serve life. Nico's cooperating fully. Turns out he's been documenting Adrian's operations for years, has files that'll put away half the network." "Is he in witness protection?" "That's not your concern." Clara moved to the door. "You and Serena will be released tonight. There'll be paperwork, depositions, potential testimony at trial. You'll need to stay available. And then? And then you rebuild." Claire's expression softened fractionally. "I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but you're lucky. Most people don't walk out of situations like that, especially not intact." "I don't feel intact." "No, you probably won't for a while." She opened the door. "Someone will take you to processing. Get your belongings, your phone. There's a victim services advocate who can help with temporary housing if you need it." "Can I see Serena?" "She's in the next room. Once you're both processed, you're free to go wherever you want, together or separately." Clara paused. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I was undercover. I couldn't intervene without blowing the operation. I know that doesn't help, but—" "You're right," Leora interrupted. "It doesn't help." Clara nodded and left. Processing took another 2 hours. Forms, signatures, evidence bags containing her phone and wallet, exactly as they'd been when she'd first arrived at the estate. Her car was still in impound somewhere. They'd arranged to have it returned. She walked out of the field office into parking lot lights and cold night air, and there was Serena, standing by a rental car, looking small and lost. They stared at each other for a long moment. Then Serena started laughing. Not happy laughter. The kind that comes from surviving something that should have killed you. Leora joined in. They stood in the parking lot, laughing until it hurt, until people stared, until it exhausted itself and left them just standing there, wrung out. "Where do we even go?" Serena asked. "I have no idea. My apartment's gone. Lease expired months ago. Everything's in storage." "Same. So we're homeless." "Technically." Leora looked at the rental car. "Where's this go?" "Wherever we want, I guess. Agent Morrison said they'd cover lodging for a few days while we figure things out." Serena unlocked the doors. "There's a Holiday Inn 15 miles from here." "Sounds perfect." They got in. Serena started the engine but didn't put it in gear, just sat there, hands on the wheel, staring at nothing. "He's really in custody," she said quietly. "It's really over." "Yeah." "Why doesn't it feel over?" "Because trauma doesn't end when the situation does. It just changes shape." Leora reached over, squeezed her hand. "But we're out. That's something." "That's everything," Serena corrected. She put the car in drive. "Let's go somewhere with terrible cable and reasonable thread count sheets. I want to be aggressively mediocre for a while." They drove. The Holiday Inn was exactly as advertised. Bland, clean, anonymous. They got adjoining rooms but ended up in Leora's, sitting on the bed, eating vending machine snacks and watching infomercials neither of them cared about. "I keep waiting for someone to tell me this isn't real," Serena said around a mouthful of stale chips. "That I'm going to wake up back in that room with the white walls and the pills on the nightstand." "You're not. This is real." "How do you know?" "Because hotel chips don't taste this bad in dreams." Serena smiled. It looked rusty, like facial muscles remembering an old skill. "What do we do now?" "Like tomorrow? Next week? Next month?" "I don't know. Find apartments, find jobs, find therapists who specialize in rich, asshole-induced PTSD. Is that a specialty?" "It should be." They lapsed into silence. On TV, someone was selling knives that could cut through anything. "I need to tell you something," Serena said eventually. "Something I haven't told anyone." Leora turned to look at her. "The night before the wedding," Serena continued, "I tried to run, got all the way to the gates. Adrian caught me himself, brought me back. Didn't hurt me, just talked. Explained very calmly what would happen if I tried again. Who would suffer, how they'd suffer." Her voice went flat. "Then he gave me the pills, said they'd make it easier, and I took them. Every day after that, I took them because he was right. They made it easier." "Serena, I'm not finished." She looked at Leora directly. "When you tried to run, when Victor offered you an out, I hated you. Not because you were leaving me, because I was too weak to do what you did, too medicated, too scared, too broken." "You weren't weak." "I was. I am." Serena's eyes filled. "But I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to, I don't know, go to therapy, take classes, learn how to be a person again instead of just a victim with good bone structure." She grabbed Leora's hand. "And I need you to promise me something. Anything. Don't let me disappear. If I start hiding, if I start making myself small again, pull me back. Remind me that I survived, that we both did." Her grip tightened. "Because right now, sitting here, I can feel the pull, the urge to just fade. And I can't do that again. I won't." Leora pulled her into a hug. Serena collapsed into it, shaking. "You're not going to fade," Leora said into her hair. "I won't let you, and you won't let me. We're stuck with each other." Good. They stayed like that until the infomercial ended and a new one started, selling blenders this time, promising to change lives one smoothie at a time. Eventually, they separated. Serena went to her own room. Leora lay in the too-soft bed, staring at the popcorn ceiling, and thought about the future. Tomorrow, she'd call victim services. Start figuring out housing. Next week, therapy. Next month, maybe a job interview. Eventually, a life that wasn't defined by captivity. But tonight, she just breathed. In and out. Free air. It tasted like cheap hotel climate control and possibility, and for now, that was enough. The call came at 3 a.m., 6 weeks after they'd left the Holiday Inn. Leora's phone vibrated on the nightstand of her new studio apartment in Boulder. Small, Cheap, hers. She grabbed it half asleep, saw an unknown number, almost declined. Something made her answer. Miss Vance? A woman's voice, official. This is Special Agent Morrison. I need you to listen very carefully. Leora sat up, fully awake now. What happened? Adrian Volkov escaped custody 4 hours ago. We don't know how yet. Hospital security was compromised. Guards were found unconscious. He's gone. The words didn't process at first. Then they did, and Leora's blood went ice cold. He had help, Clara continued. Inside help. We're investigating, but right now my priority is you and Serena. Where are you? Boulder. My apartment. Stay there. Lock your doors. I'm sending a protective detail. They'll be there in 20 minutes. What about Serena? A pause. Too long. Agent Morrison. What about Serena? We can't reach her. She's not answering her phone. We sent units to her address in Denver, but Claire's voice tightened. The apartment's empty. Signs of a struggle. Blood on the floor. Not a lot, but enough. The room tilted. No, that's not... I need you to think. Has Serena contacted you in the last 12 hours? Mentioned going anywhere? Meeting anyone? Leora's mind raced. She'd talked to Serena yesterday afternoon. Just normal conversation. Serena had found a job at a bookstore, was excited, was finally sleeping without nightmares. Nothing about going anywhere. Nothing wrong. No, nothing. She was fine. Okay, stay on the line. Don't hang up. The detail is... Leora's apartment door exploded inward. Not knocked, not picked. Exploded. Wood splintering, hinges ripping from the frame. 2 men rushed in, moving fast, professional. Leora screamed, dropped the phone, scrambled backward off the bed. The first man caught her before she made it 3 steps. Hand over her mouth, arm around her waist, lifting her off the ground like she weighed nothing. She bit down hard, tasted blood. He swore in Russian, didn't let go. The second man picked up her phone from the floor. Federal agent on the line, cute. He ended the call, pocketed the phone. Let's go. They carried her out. She fought, kicking, scratching, trying to scream through the hand clamped over her mouth. The hallway was empty, her neighbors' doors closed. Either they were heavy sleepers or they'd learned not to get involved. Down the stairs, out the back exit, into the parking lot where a black van waited, engine running. They threw her inside. She hit the floor hard, felt her shoulder slam into something metal. Before she could recover, zip ties locked her wrists behind her back. The van lurched into motion. Through the gap between the front seats, she could see the driver. A woman, blonde, unfamiliar. She drove fast and smooth, hitting turns without braking. Where is she? Leora demanded. Where's Serena? The man she'd bitten, hand wrapped in a rag now, bleeding through, looked at her with dead eyes. You'll find out. They drove for hours. Leora lost track of time, watching darkness give way to dawn through the van's tinted windows. Mountains, forest, roads that got progressively worse, paved to gravel to dirt. They were heading into wilderness, away from civilization, away from help. She tried to memorize the route, tried to stay calm, tried not to think about what Clara had said, blood on the floor. Eventually the van stopped. The back doors opened. Different location, same protocol. Rough hands hauled her out, marched her forward. They were at some kind of compound, 3 buildings arranged around a clearing, all wood and stone, built to blend with the forest. Guard towers at the corners, generators humming, solar panels on the roofs. Adrian had planned for this. A safe house, a fallback position. They walked her to the largest building, through a door, into a main room that looked like a hunting lodge. Taxidermy on the walls, leather furniture, fireplace. And sitting in a chair by the fire, reading a newspaper like this was a weekend getaway. Adrian Volkov. He looked thinner than she remembered. Paler. The gunshot wounds from Nico had left him moving carefully, favoring his left side. But his eyes were the same. Cold, assessing, reptilian. Miss Vance, he said pleasantly. Thank you for joining us. Where's Serena? Safe. For now. He folded the newspaper, set it aside. She's in the east cabin, unharmed. I'm not a monster. You kidnapped us both. Again. I secured my assets. There's a difference. He gestured to a chair across from him. Sit. The guards pushed her into it. One of them cut the zip ties. Her wrist throbbed where the plastic had bitten in. She rubbed them, glaring. "Here's the situation," Adrian said. The FBI raid destroyed my American operations. Seized accounts, arrested associates, burned my infrastructure to the ground. But I'm not dead yet. I have resources overseas, money they can't touch, connections they don't know about. What I need is time to get there and rebuild. What's that got to do with me? You and Serena are my insurance. The FBI wants me badly enough to trade. Your freedom for my safe passage. I've already made contact. Negotiations are underway. Leora laughed, bitter. You actually think they'll deal with you? I think they want you both alive more than they want me dead. And I think federal bureaucracy moves slowly enough for me to reach international waters before they decide to breach whatever agreement we reach. He leaned forward. In the meantime, you're my guests. Comfortable accommodations, adequate food, no unnecessary discomfort. Behave, and this ends smoothly. Cause trouble. His smile was a blade. And I'll demonstrate that my patience has limits. I want to see Serena. Of course! Tomorrow. After you've both had time to settle in. He stood, moving stiffly. Boris, show Miss Vance to her cabin. Boris, the one she'd bitten, grabbed her arm and hauled her upright. She jerked free. I can walk. Then walk. He escorted her outside across the clearing to a smaller cabin. One room, sparsely furnished, cot, chair, wood stove. Window with bars. Door that locked from the outside. Bathroom's in the corner, Boris said, pointing to a curtained-off area. Someone brings food twice a day. Firewood's outside. Don't try the window. It's reinforced and alarmed. He paused at the door. My hand's infected because of you. You cost me sleep and antibiotics. Remember that. He left. The lock engaged with a heavy click. Leora stood in the center of the cabin, breathing hard, trying not to spiral. Serena was here, alive. That was something. They just had to survive long enough for what? The FBI to negotiate? To raid this place like they'd raided the estate? She moved to the window, tested the bars. Solid. Looked out at the compound. 2 guards visible, both armed. Cameras on the guard towers. This wasn't the estate. This was a fortress. She sat on the cot and started planning. Bunk. They brought food at dawn, bread, cheese, water. The guard who delivered it was young, nervous, wouldn't make eye contact. Leora tried talking to him. He set the tray down and left without responding. An hour later, the door opened again. Adrian stood there, alone. Come. Serena's asking for you. Leora followed him across the clearing. Morning sun cut through the trees. Birds sang. The whole scene could have been peaceful if you ignored the armed men and the fact that this was a prison. The east cabin was identical to hers. Inside, Serena, sitting on the cot, looking small and scared. Her face lit up when Leora entered, then crumpled. They met in the middle of the room, holding each other. Are you okay? Leora asked. No. Yes. I don't know. Serena pulled back, checking her over. Did they hurt you? I'm fine. You? Same. Serena looked past her at Adrian, and her expression went hard. He wants something. That's the only reason we're together. Perceptive, Adrian said from the doorway. I do want something. Cooperation. I need you both to appear in a video. Proof of life for the FBI. Show them you're unharmed, reading a statement I'll provide. Simple. And if we refuse? Leora asked. Then I make the video anyway, and it'll be significantly less pleasant for you. He pulled a phone from his pocket. Let's not complicate this. Read the script. Look scared, but alive. Help me sell the narrative that you're valuable enough to trade for. He handed Serena a piece of paper. She read it, face going pale. This says we're begging the FBI to meet your demands, that we're terrified you'll kill us if they don't comply, which is all true technically. Adrian's smile was empty. You're terrified. I would kill you if necessary. The FBI should comply. Everyone wins. Except us, Leora said. You win by staying alive. That's not nothing. He raised the phone. Now, together. Serena reads. Leora stands beside her looking appropriately distressed. We'll do one take. Make it convincing. They had no choice. Serena read the statement, voice shaking. Whether from fear or rage, Leora couldn't tell. Probably both. Leora stood there trying to look terrified instead of furious, and apparently succeeded because Adrian nodded, satisfied. Perfect. That'll do. He pocketed the phone. I'm sending this to the FBI within the hour. Negotiations should conclude within 48 hours. Then we're all leaving. You to federal custody, me to somewhere they can't touch me. They'll never let you go, Serena said. They will. Because the alternative is explaining to the media why they let two innocent women die rather than bend protocol. He moved to the door. You have the rest of the day together. Enjoy it. Tomorrow you'll be separated again until we move. He left. The door locked. Serena collapsed onto the cot, shaking. This can't be happening. We got out. We were free. We're still getting out, Leora said, sitting beside her. We just have to think. Think what? We're in the middle of nowhere with armed guards and no way to contact anyone. Clara knows we're missing. She'll be looking. She was looking at the estate, too. Took her 18 months to move. Serena's voice broke. We don't have 18 months. We have 48 hours before he puts us on a plane to somewhere the FBI can't follow. Leora stood, paced the small space. Serena was right. Waiting for rescue was suicide. They needed an opening, a mistake, something. The guard who brought breakfast, Leora said slowly. He was young, scared, not like the others. So? So maybe he's not loyal. Maybe he's just hired help who didn't sign up for kidnapping. She turned to Serena. If we can get to him alone, if we can convince him of what? To risk his life for two strangers? To risk it for money? For immunity? For whatever he wants? Leora knelt in front of her. We have to try something. Sitting here waiting is just dying slowly. Serena was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, what do you need me to do? I think. The plan was simple because it had to be. When the young guard brought dinner that evening, Serena would fake a medical emergency. While he was distracted, Leora would talk to him, offer him anything, money they didn't have, promises they couldn't keep, appeals to basic humanity. Whatever worked. It wasn't much of a plan, but it was all they had. Dinner came at dusk. The young guard, name tag said Eric, entered with the same nervous energy as before, set the tray down, turned to leave. Serena collapsed, gasping, clutching her chest. Eric froze. What? Please, Serena choked out. Can't breathe. Pills, I need... He hesitated, torn between training and basic decency. Decency won. He knelt beside her. What pills? What's wrong? Leora moved to his other side, lowering her voice. She has a heart condition. She needs medication. Adrian knows he has her prescription, but he's withholding it. I can't. You can ask him. Tell him she's having an episode. He'll give you the pills or he'll come check himself. Either way, we're telling him you helped save her life. Leora met his eyes. Or you can walk out and let her die, and explain that to him later. Eric's face was pale. He looked maybe 22, baby-faced, way out of his depth. I'll get him. Wait, Leora grabbed his arm. How much is he paying you? That's not... However much it is, it's not enough for kidnapping and murder. You know that, right? When the FBI finds this place, and they will, everyone here goes down. Accomplices get the same charges as principals. I'm just security. You're helping hold two women hostage. That's felony kidnapping. Federal crime, 20 years minimum. She squeezed harder. But if you help us escape, if you testify, you get immunity. You walk away clean. Eric jerked his arm free, standing. You don't know what you're talking about. I know Adrian Volkov murdered people. I know he's going down and everyone around him is going with him. Leora stood too, blocking the door. You seem like a decent kid. Wrong place, wrong time, but you can fix this. Help us get out and we make sure the FBI knows you're the reason we survived. He stared at her, conflict written all over his face. Then he shook his head. I can't. They'd kill me. Adrian's going to kill you anyway when he doesn't need you anymore. That's what he does. You don't know that. I watched him do it to other people. You're not special. You're disposable. She softened her voice. Please, you don't want this on your conscience. Help us. For a moment, she thought she had him. His eyes were wet, hands shaking. Then he pushed past her, unlocked the door, left, locked it behind him. Serena sat up from where she'd been fake gasping. Well, that went great. He's thinking about it, I saw it. Thinking isn't helping. It's a start. Leora moved to the window, watched Eric cross the clearing, disappear into the main building. We planted the seed. Now we wait and see if it grows. It grew faster than expected. Midnight, the lock clicked. Leora woke instantly, rolled off the cot, ready for a fight. The door opened. Eric stood there, flashlight in hand, looking terrified. You have 5 minutes. There's a gap in the patrol on the south perimeter. I can get you to the tree line, but after that you're on your own. Leora shook Serena awake. Move, now! They followed Eric out into darkness. The compound was quiet, most lights off, just the guard towers lit. Eric led them between buildings, staying in shadows, moving fast. At the southern edge, he stopped, pointed to a gap in the fence. There. Through the trees, about 2 miles south, there's a fire road. Follow it west. You'll hit Route 40 eventually. Come with us, Leora said. I can't. I have to stay. Make it look like you escaped on your own. Otherwise they'll know I helped. He handed her his flashlight. Go, before the next patrol loop. Serena hugged him. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just run. They ran. Through the gap in the fence, into the forest. Trees thick, ground uneven, darkness absolute except for the flashlight beam. Behind them, nothing yet. No alarms, no shouts, just their breathing and the sound of branches snapping underfoot. They made it maybe half a mile before the compound lit up like daylight. Sirens, voices on loudspeakers, dogs barking. They know, Serena gasped. Keep moving. They crashed through underbrush, tripped over roots, pushed deeper into the forest. The terrain sloped downward, treacherous in the dark. Leora's ankle twisted on loose rock. She stumbled, caught herself, kept running. Behind them, flashlights. Multiple beams cutting through trees, the dogs getting louder. We're not going to make it, Serena panted. Yes, we are. Don't stop. The slope got steeper. Leora's foot hit air, nothing beneath it. She realized too late they'd reached a drop-off. Gravity took over. She tumbled forward, rolling, hitting rocks and branches and ground that kept falling away. Serena's scream cut off abruptly as she fell too. They hit bottom in a tangle of limbs and pain. Leora's head had struck something. She could feel blood in her hair, warm and sticky. Beside her, Serena groaned, trying to sit up. You okay? Leora managed. No, you. No. Above them, maybe 20 feet up, voices, flashlights playing across the edge of the drop-off. Then the beams moved on, searching elsewhere. The voices faded. They'd fallen into a ravine the search party had missed. For now. Leora forced herself upright, ignoring screaming muscles. Checked Serena over, scraped, bruised, limping, but mobile. The flashlight was gone, lost in the fall. They were in complete darkness at the bottom of a rocky channel that led somewhere. Can you walk? Leora asked. I have to, don't I? They followed the ravine. No choice. Climbing back up meant running into the search party. The channel gradually widened, became a dry creek bed. The ground leveled out. Above, through the tree canopy, stars. Enough light to navigate by. Hours passed, maybe 2, maybe 4. They stumbled forward in silence, exhaustion making every step agony. Leora's head throbbed. Serena was limping badly, but they kept moving because stopping meant dying. Dawn broke gray and cold. With light came orientation. The ravine had led them east, away from the compound. They'd covered ground, but whether it was enough remained to be seen. A sound froze them both. An engine. Distant, but growing closer. Road, Serena breathed. They climbed out of the ravine, pushed through a final barrier of trees, and there it was. A 2-lane highway, cracked asphalt, faded lines. Empty in both directions. Which way? Serena asked. Before Leora could answer, a vehicle appeared. Black SUV, moving fast. It screeched to a stop beside them. The passenger window rolled down. Nico sat in the driver's seat, face pale, arms still in a sling. Get in, now! They didn't question it, just dove into the back seat. Nico gunned the engine before their doors even closed, tires screaming as he accelerated. How did you... Leora started. Tracked your phones before they destroyed them. Figured out the general area. Been driving these roads for 6 hours. He glanced in the rearview mirror. You're both alive. That's something. Adrian's at a compound about 5 miles back, Leora said. FBI needs to... FBI knows. I've been feeding them intel since you disappeared. They're mobilizing a tactical team now. He took a turn too fast, corrected. ETA 20 minutes. We need to be gone before that happens. Why? Because when they hit that compound, it's going to be a bloodbath. Adrian's not surrendering. He's got nothing to lose and everything to prove. Nico's voice was tight. He told his people to fight to the last. Take as many feds as possible. Make it so expensive they think twice before coming after his network again. That's suicide, Serena said. That's martyrdom. Different thing. Nico's knuckles were white on the wheel. He'd rather die a legend than live in a cell. And he'll take everyone around him down to make it happen. Leora looked back through the rear window. In the distance, barely visible, smoke rising. Then she heard it. Gunfire. Faint but sustained. The raid had started. What about Eric? She asked. The guard who helped us. Is he... If he's still at the compound, he's dead or about to be. Nico's face was stone. I'm sorry, but there's nothing we can do. They drove in silence. The gunfire faded behind them, swallowed by distance and trees. 20 minutes became 30. They hit a main highway, merged with actual traffic. Civilization reasserting itself. Nico pulled into a rest stop, parked in the back. Killed the engine. FBI's got a field office in Grand Junction, 90 miles west. I can take you there, hand you off, disappear before they start asking questions I can't answer. Where will you go? Serena asked. Somewhere Adrian's network can't reach, assuming any of it survives what happens today. He turned to look at them. This is it. The end. Adrian's dead or captured by tonight. The Empire's done. You're free. Actually free this time. What about you? Leora asked. You helped us. You've been helping this whole time. The FBI will protect... The FBI will arrest me for 24 felonies the second they get a chance. I'm not delusional. He smiled without humor. I made my choices. I'll live with the consequences. Or you could testify. Get immunity like Nico Volkov, complicit in murder and racketeering and trafficking? He laughed. No immunity is that good. I'd be in witness protection forever, looking over my shoulder, waiting for whoever's left of Adrian's network to find me. He shook his head. I've got a better plan. New name, new country, new life. Already arranged. Serena reached forward, squeezed his shoulder. Thank you for everything. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you're old and safe, and this is just a bad memory. He started the engine again. Now let's get you to Grand Junction before someone realizes you're missing again. Mati. The FBI field office in Grand Junction was chaos. Agents everywhere, phones ringing, voices shouting updates. Clara met them at the entrance, looking like she hadn't slept in days. You're alive. Thank everything you're alive. She pulled them both into a brief, unprofessional hug, then stepped back, becoming Agent Morrison again. Medics are standing by. We need statements, examinations, the full protocol. Adrian? Leora asked. Dead. Killed in the raid 40 minutes ago. Refused to surrender, opened fire on tactical teams. They returned fire. Clara's expression was grim. 14 of his people dead. 3 agents wounded. Could have been worse. Eric, Serena said. Young guard, early 20s. He helped us escape. Is he... Clara checked her tablet, scrolled. Eric Moss, 23. Found dead in the main building. Single gunshot to the head. Looks like Adrian executed him when he realized someone had helped you. The words hit like a fist. Serena made a sound halfway between a gasp and a sob. Leora felt the world tilt. He'd helped them. He'd died for it. And they'd never even known his last name. I'm sorry, Clara said quietly. We'll make sure his family knows he was a hero. It won't bring him back, but nothing will, Leora interrupted. So let's at least make sure his death meant something. What do you need from us? Clara led them to a conference room. For the next 6 hours, they gave statements. Every detail, every moment, everything they could remember. Other agents came and went, asking questions, cross-referencing facts. Medics examined them, photographed injuries, took blood samples. By evening, they were done. Wrung out, empty. Clara walked them to a waiting car. We're putting you in protective custody temporarily. Just a precaution while we round up the last of Adrian's network. Shouldn't be more than a week. And then? Serena asked. Then you're free. Actually, genuinely free. New identities if you want them. Relocation assistance, counseling, whatever you need to rebuild. They got in the car. As it pulled away, Leora looked back at the field office, at Clara standing in the doorway, and felt something close inside her chest. The chapter ending. The book closing. Serena leaned her head on Leora's shoulder. Is it really over? Yeah, I think it is. I don't know what to do with that. Neither do I. Leora took her hand. But we'll figure it out, like everything else. Together. Protective custody was a safe house outside Durango, isolated, comfortable, staffed by marshals who were polite and professional and heavily armed. They spent a week there, mostly sleeping, occasionally talking, slowly decompressing from months of sustained terror. The news covered Adrian's death extensively. Media painted him as a kingpin brought down by brave federal agents. No mention of two women who'd survived him twice. Clara had kept their names out of it, protecting them from the spotlight. On the 8th day, Clara arrived with paperwork. Adrian's network is dismantled, accounts seized, associates arrested or fled. You're in the clear. She handed over folders. Inside, new social security numbers if you want them, victim compensation applications, counseling referrals, job placement resources, everything you need to start over. Leora opened her folder. A future, printed on government forms. One more thing, Clara said, pulling out a sealed envelope. This was in Adrian's personal effects. Had both your names on it. We checked it. No threats, no danger. Just a letter. Whether you read it is up to you. She left it on the table and walked out. Leora and Serena stared at the envelope. Neither moved to open it. Do we want to know? Serena finally asked. I don't know. Do we? It can't hurt us anymore. He's dead. Words can always hurt. They sat in silence. Then Serena reached out, opened the envelope, pulled out a single sheet of paper. Read it. Her face went pale. What? Leora asked. Serena handed it over. The handwriting was Adrian's, precise, controlled. By the time you read this, I'll be dead or imprisoned. Either way, you've won. Congratulations. You survived something that breaks most people. That takes strength I didn't give you credit for. I'm not apologizing. I don't regret my choices. But I will say this. You were never just leverage to me, Serena. You were the one thing in my empire I couldn't fully control, and that fascinated me. Terrified me, if I'm honest. Which is why I tried so hard to break you. I failed. You both did. And in a strange way, I respect that. The money I stole from your father's accounts, the debt I used to trap you, I've had it in offshore holdings this entire time, untouched. I'm leaving instructions with my attorney to transfer it back to your family. Call it restitution. Call it proof I wasn't completely without conscience. You'll never forgive me. I don't expect you to. But perhaps someday you'll understand that monsters aren't born. They're made by a world that rewards cruelty and punishes weakness. I chose to be what I was. You chose to survive me. We both succeeded. AV. The letter ended there. Leora read it twice, trying to process. An apology that wasn't an apology. An admission wrapped in justification. The final word of a man who'd destroyed lives and couldn't quite grasp why that mattered. Serena took the letter back, walked to the fireplace, threw it in. They watched it burn. Does it change anything? Leora asked. No, he's still dead. We're still free. The rest is just noise. Serena turned away from the flames. I want to go somewhere warm, somewhere that doesn't have mountains or forests or anything that reminds me of here. Where? I don't know. Florida? California? Somewhere I can see the ocean and remember the world is bigger than one man's empire. That sounds perfect. They packed that night, left the next morning in a rental car loaded with their few belongings and their government folders full of fresh starts. Drove south, then west, following highways toward coast and future. 3 days later, they stood on a beach in San Diego, watching sunset paint the water gold and orange. Tourists walked past, families played in the surf, seagulls screamed overhead. Normal, beautiful, uncomplicated. I can't believe it's over, Serena said. You keep saying that. Because I keep not believing it. She turned to Leora. What do we do now? Whatever we want. That's the point of freedom. I don't remember what I wanted before all this. Before him. Then we figure out what you want now. New wants, new dreams. Leora smiled. We've got time. They stood there until the sun disappeared completely, leaving only stars and the sound of waves and the certainty that they'd survived. And surviving, they were learning, was just the beginning. But as they turned to walk back to their motel, Leora's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it. Then she saw the text. He's not the only one. There are others. And they know what you did. A friend. Her blood went cold, showed it to Serena. It's a prank, Serena said, but her voice shook. Someone messing with us. Has to be. Or Adrian's network isn't as dismantled as Clara thought. Another text. Check your car. They ran back to the parking lot. The rental car looked normal, untouched. Then Leora saw it, a manila envelope tucked under the windshield wiper. She grabbed it with shaking hands, opened it. Inside, photographs. Of them. At the safe house. At rest stops during the drive. Walking on the beach an hour ago. Someone had been following them, watching them, documenting their every move. And on the back of the last photo, written in red ink, run all you want. We'll find you. Always. Serena's breathing went ragged. No, we're done. We escaped. We're free. We're not, Leora said, voice hollow. We never were. In the distance, a car engine started. Black sedan, tinted windows, pulling out of the lot slowly. Not fleeing, just leaving, making a point. They could run. They could call Clara. They could do a dozen things. But standing there, holding evidence that their nightmare wasn't over, that freedom had been an illusion, Leora felt something shift inside her. She'd spent months being afraid, being a victim, being reactive. Enough. She pulled out her phone, called Clara. We have a problem, she said when the agent answered. And I need you to listen very carefully because I'm only saying this once. We're done running. Whatever's left of Adrian's network, whoever thinks they can terrorize us into silence. She looked at Serena, saw the same fury reflected back. They just made a very big mistake. Clara arrived in San Diego within 6 hours, bringing 2 other agents and an expression that told Leora everything she needed to know. This was worse than they'd thought. They met in a conference room at the FBI's San Diego field office. Sterile, windowless, the kind of space designed for bad news. Clara spread the photographs across the table like evidence at a crime scene, which, Leora supposed, they were. We traced the phone number, Clara said. Burner. Purchased with cash in Las Vegas 3 days ago. Dead end. What about the car? Serena asked. The black sedan. Caught on traffic cameras heading north on I-5. Lost it after Oceanside. Could be anywhere by now. Clara pulled up something on her tablet. But we did get a partial plate. Ran it through our databases. The car's registered to a shell company. Same shell company that owned one of Adrian's offshore accounts. Leora felt her stomach tighten. So it is his network. What's left of it, yes. Clara sat down heavily. We thought we'd gotten everyone, but Adrian was careful. Compartmentalized operations, kept different cells isolated. Looks like we missed one. How many people are we talking about? Leora asked. Unknown. Could be 2, could be 20. The photos suggest professional surveillance, multiple angles, different locations, high-quality equipment. This is an amateur hour. Serena's hands clenched on the table. What do they want? Revenge, probably. You testified in depositions. Your statements helped build the case that destroyed Adrian's empire. Someone out there blames you for that. Clara's eyes were hard. Or they think you know something, account numbers, locations, contacts, something valuable enough to hunt you for. We don't know anything, Leora said. Doesn't matter if it's true. Matters if they believe it. The room fell silent. One of the other agents, a man named Torres, young and intense, spoke up. We can put you in witness protection. Real protection this time. New identities, relocation to somewhere they can't track. You'd have to cut ties with everyone from your old lives, but you'd be safe. For how long? Serena's voice was hollow. Until they find us again? Until someone else from Adrian's network decides we're worth hunting? Witness protection is effective. Witness protection is another prison, Serena interrupted. New name, new city, new cage. We'd spend the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders, jumping at shadows, never trusting anyone. She looked at Clara. That's not freedom. That's just survival with better paperwork. Clara didn't argue. She'd seen enough protected witnesses to know Serena was right. Then what do you want to do? Clara asked. Leora stood, paced the small room. Her mind was racing, cataloging options, discarding most of them. Running hadn't worked. Hiding hadn't worked. Waiting for the FBI to solve this could take months or years, and in the meantime, whoever was stalking them would have time to plan, to watch, to strike when they were vulnerable. We stop running, Leora said finally. We turn this around. Make them come to us on our terms instead of theirs. That's insane, Torres said. That's the only play we have left. Leora turned to Clara. They think we know something valuable, so we make them think we're willing to sell it. Set up a meeting, bait a trap. When they show up, you're already there. Clara was quiet for a long moment, considering. You're talking about making yourselves targets. Deliberately. We're already targets. This way, at least we control the when and where. It's dangerous. Everything's dangerous. This is just dangerous with a plan. Leora sat back down. Can you do it? Set up surveillance, have teams ready, make sure we're covered? Theoretically. Clara looked at her tablet, thinking. We'd need time to prepare. Find the right location. Build the operation. She looked up. And you'd need to sell it. Make them believe you actually have something worth meeting for. We can do that, Serena said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. I was married to Adrian for months. I learned how to lie convincingly, how to perform. Her smile was bitter. It's probably the only useful thing that came out of this. Clara nodded slowly. Okay, let's say we do this. How do we make contact? They reached out to you once. They might not do it again. Leora picked up one of the photographs, the one with the red writing on the back, studied it. They're watching us, following us, which means they'll see whatever we want them to see. Such as us going somewhere public, somewhere we'd only go if we were about to run with something valuable. A bank, maybe? Or a safety deposit facility. Leora's mind was working faster now, pieces falling into place. We make a show of it. Act nervous, keep looking over our shoulders, make them think we're about to disappear with whatever they think we have. And then we let them see us set up a meeting. Somewhere isolated, but not too isolated. Somewhere you can stage an ambush without it being obvious. She looked at Clara. You've done this before, right? Set up stings? More times than I can count. Then set up one more. I'm staked. It took 3 days to plan. 3 days of FBI strategizing, location scouting, and Leora and Serena rehearsing their roles like actors preparing for opening night. The location they chose was perfect. An abandoned warehouse in the industrial district near the port, isolated enough to feel safe for whoever they were meeting, open enough for federal agents to position themselves without being obvious. The bait was simple. Leora and Serena spent those 3 days being visible, withdrawing cash from multiple ATMs, visiting 3 different banks, carrying a locked briefcase they'd purchased at an office supply store. They made sure to look nervous, to glance over their shoulders, to have loud conversations on burner phones about needing to move the package before someone finds it. It was theater. Bad theater, honestly. But it worked. On the second day, Leora spotted the tail. Same black sedan, hanging back 3 cars, following them from the bank to their motel. She didn't acknowledge it, just kept driving, kept performing. That night, they made the call. Used one of the burner phones to dial the number that had sent the threatening text. It rang 4 times before someone picked up. No greeting, just breathing. We know what you want, Leora said, reading from the script Clara had helped her write. And we're willing to deal, but it has to be face-to-face. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m., Warehouse District, Pier 19. Come alone, we come alone. We trade what we have for guarantees that you leave us alone. Permanently. Silence. Then, how do I know you actually have anything? Leora had been prepared for this. Account number 847CH2190. Zurich. Adrian mentioned it once to Serena, said it was his insurance policy. We have the access codes. More silence. Longer this time. Then, tomorrow night, 10 p.m., you bring the codes. We bring proof this ends. The line went dead. Leora set the phone down, hands shaking. Serena was sitting on the motel bed, pale. Did they buy it? Serena asked. I think so. Leora pulled out her real phone, called Clara. It's set tomorrow night. We'll be ready, Clara said. Get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. The next day moved in slow motion. Leora and Serena stayed in the motel, watched by federal agents posing as construction workers across the street. Clara briefed them in the afternoon, entry and exit routes, what to do if things went wrong, hand signals if they needed immediate extraction. Remember, Clara said, your job is to get them talking. Keep them engaged long enough for us to identify everyone involved, record the conversation, build the case. When I give the signal, she showed them a flashlight that would pulse twice from her position. You hit the ground and we move in. What if they start shooting before that? Serena asked. You're wearing vests under your clothes, and we'll have sharpshooters positioned on 3 sides. The second anyone draws a weapon, we engage. Clara's expression was serious. But ideally, nobody shoots anybody. We want them alive. We want testimony, names, the whole network. And if they don't cooperate? Leora asked. Then we do this the hard way. Clara handed them each an earpiece, nearly invisible. We'll be listening to everything. You're not alone.